name is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we talked about 2D array access. Actually, we had found out that when we want to access elements into a 2D array, we are using up the rows and column indexes. So today, we are going to ask ourselves how to insert elements in a 2D array. And in that particular journey, we are going to see the explanation or the definition, and then we are going to take up briefly the algorithm and then implement it. So let's start into that particular journey. So when we are talking about insertion in 2D array, also in this particular one, we are going actually to use what actually we call the rows indexes and the column indexes. And basically, if we take, for example, that we have an array of 2 rows and 3 columns, basically the array will look up like this, whereby we have got our 3 columns and 2 rows. So this will be our row 0, and this will be our row 1, and this will be column 1, column 2, and column 0, 1, and 2. So basically, how do we insert? How do we insert into this particular position 1, position 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6? We had find out if we are talking about an array of 2 by 3, then we'll have up our 6 elements. So, however, when I say int a and then 2 column, actually all these particular areas will have what we call garbage values. So let's see, that will take us into an algorithm. So our algorithm will be very simple and very straightforward. That if you are given up an array with a particular size, and it is a 2D array, then we are going actually to use a loop, and this will be 4 nested loops. So the first loop, that will be loop 1, it will be actually to capture values of the first size. So if this first size it is A and this it is B, or this is a row and this is a column, so it will actually capture values of a row. And then our loop number 2 will capture values of the column. So this will be the first nested loop, and then the second nested loop basically is going to capture, is going to display. So this one is going to display the value of the rows, and then the next loop is going to display the value of a column, and then our algorithm ends. Okay, for now we are going to go to Dev C++ and demonstrate how can we actually insert a 2D element. So let's go on to Dev C++. Here we are going to use a constant to hold our rows and column. So here we have const int cat, and for cat we are passing up the value of 2. There will be 2 rows, and then basically we have our const int unit. In our unit, which is our row, we are passing up the value of 3. So basically, now let's make up our array. So here our array will be int result. In our int result, basically we are putting up our cat there, and then we are putting up our unit there, and then we terminate. So the next thing what we are supposed to do is writing up our for loop. So this is our for loop. So we are saying int I equals to 0, and then we are saying our I should be less than our cat size, which is 2, and then we'll have our I being incremented. So basically that's what we are talking here. And what we are saying next, it is actually having our for loop, so our nested loop. So this one now will go and take up our column. So here we'll say int j should be equal to 0, and our j should be less than our units, and then our j should be incremented. And this is another loop altogether. So in this particular loop here, what we are doing, it is we are telling up a user, so we're putting up a printf. We're putting up a printf to tell a user to enter the values. So we're putting up a printf there, and we are telling the user enter cut marks, and we capture those particular cut marks, and enter cut marks for your unit, and also we capture that particular number of units. So here, since we have indexes starting from 0, we'll capture them, the first one and the second one. So we'll have our I basically plus 1, and we'll have our j actually plus 1 again. So basically that will tell us to enter the first one, the second one, the third one, until the last one. So with that in mind, now we are using up the scanf, and in our scanf basically we are saying we want our %d, and we use our ampersand. And what are we capturing there? We are capturing our results. So our results, and then we'll have our I there, and then we'll have our j there. So basically that is the first part, whereby we have actually captured everything. So let's move on to the second part. We are having up another for loop. I mean, before we put up a for loop, we want up actually to display. So if you want to display, so we are saying printf, and in that particular printf we are making up a new line. We are saying displaying the results. So those will be our results, and we are putting up some new lines. So we are displaying our result there, and then now we are putting up our loops. So that will have 4, and this time we have int I, which equals to 0, and we'll have our I should be less than our cat, and then we have got our I, which is supposed to be incremented. So basically that's how it's supposed to be. And then we are having our nested loop again here. For now, here we have got our int j, which is equal to 0, our int j, which is equal to 0, and basically we are having our j should be actually now less than our units, and we'll have our j to be incremented. So basically we have taken care both of the rows and of the column. So let's now print. Now this will be a very straightforward one. We are just printing. So we have got our printf, and what are we basically we are printing? It is the cut, which is %d, put up a comma, and then we are printing up the units, which also it is a %d, and then we are saying equals to our answer, which is %d, when we are putting up a new line. And from here we are getting up all the variables, and the variables, these are I plus 1, and then we have got j plus 1, and finally we have got our result, and we are putting up the indexes of I and the indexes of j. So basically that it will be the end of this particular code to be implemented. So let's run this particular code and see what happens. So when we run this particular code, it prompts us to enter our first marks and our first unit. So you can enter as 50, and then prompts us to enter our first cut marks and our second unit. Maybe you can enter 70, and then prompts us to enter our first cut mark and the third unit. Maybe we enter 80, and our second cut and the first unit we'll put up 90, and then enters up our first cut marks and the second unit, and maybe we put up 70 again, and the last one, say our second cut and the third cut, put up 50. And actually saying now, displaying the result, cut 1 unit 1 is 50, cut 1 unit 2 is 70, cut 1 unit 3 is 80, and cut 2 unit 1 it is 90, and cut 2 unit 2 it is 70, and cut 2 unit 3 it is actually 50. So basically this is how we have managed to insert elements and then display them into a 2D array. So with that, I say thank you very much for listening. Until next time, whereby we are going to talk about passing array to a function. However, don't forget to subscribe in this particular channel. Bye for now.